very committed to creating a conducive atmosphere for businesses, private businesses, to thrive. As the world continues to acknowledge Lagos as a regional, financial, and commercial hub, this administration has and will continue to demonstrate commitment to reinforcing this position by strengthening regulatory frameworks, improving internal security, providing necessary infrastructure, reducing administrative bottlenecks, and all that we can do to ensure that we enable business processes. Lagos is renowned is recognized as an investor haven for many reasons. Lagos is estimated to contribute 30% of the GDP or more of Nigeria and account for more than 50% of non-oil production GDP. Lagos contributes about 65% of the value-added tax derived in the country and handles over 70% of total national cargo freight. Lagos is a hub not just for shipment, but also a hub of aviation activity. 82.6% of the international traffic that comes into Nigeria comes through Lagos, and 47.3% of its domestic traffic originates or arrives back into Lagos. Lagos, over the last few years, has hosted between 74 and 86%, or received between 74 and 86% of the investment flows into Nigeria. So this is the home of finance and the home of capital. Lagos is a telecoms and media hub, which accounts for 60%, accounting for about 60% of the 101.7 estimated subscribers in telecoms. Lagos is rich. There are 29 industrial estates, 4 central business districts, and 8 free zones in Lagos. Lagos consumes about 45% of national electricity power consumption, and that's not counting privately generated power. Lagos consumes about 50% of national petroleum products. It's therefore the largest market in sub-Saharan Africa and a node for the West African gas pipeline, and the sub-Saharan Africa's largest ICT market, technology market. So Lagos is this hub, and it's not by accident. It's by a sheer dint of the vision of successive governments that over the past decades have continued to invest in building Lagos to what it is. But it's also a result of the interaction, the innovativeness, and the continued faith that the business community has shown by investing in Lagos. So our investors, we thank you. Our businesses, we thank you and encourage you to do more, to work with us to deliver on a better economic future for Lagos. To underscore the high premium that Mr. Governor places on this administration places on investment, Mr. Governor has implemented a number of initiatives. The first is something that we call the Investment Barometer, and that is because as a listening government, we realize we cannot just do what we think the businesses and the citizens want. We have to listen and understand what it is that they really want and have a mechanism for truly getting feedback. So we deployed this barometer, which is really a survey around the business environment in Lagos around the middle of the year, and we received feedback from over 500 companies in Lagos. We're working to deliver the results of that and use that to create initiatives that can then address the concerns of the businesses operating in Lagos. That for us is a homegrown approach to understanding what our business needs are, while we acknowledge the work that's being done with regards to ease of doing business as from an index point of view across the globe and indeed in Nigeria. So it's our first homegrown solution around ease of doing business. The second thing is this investment deal book, which we're very proud to be launching today. It's a compendium of investment opportunities in Lagos to make it very easy for potential investors to recognize and understand the environment, the investing environment, the landscape, and to understand what those opportunities are so that they can more easily partake. It also details the available incentives within the government and also in the larger government in Nigeria, and we've been working very closely with the NIPC. And at this point, I'd like to thank the Executive Secretary of the NIPC, Ms. Emeka, who's flown in from Abuja to be here today. And so this compendium hopefully will help our investors also get a better understanding, as well as an idea an understanding of the process of how to invest and partner with us in Lagos. So let me, at this juncture, reassure you of our determination to continue to institute business-friendly measures to boost investor confidence and guarantee trust. On this note, I welcome Mr. Governor, the diplomatic corps who are here in their numbers, distinguished members of the business community, captains of industry, and all members of the fourth realm who are here today to this investment roundtable. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Special Advisor on Sustainable Development Goals and Investments, Mrs. Sholape Hammond. Please, can we give her another round of applause, please? Mr. Governor and Deputy Governor, permit me to inform you of the very few persons that have made out time to be here today. Allow me to respectfully welcome into our midst the Acting Executive Secretary and CEO, Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, Mr. Emeka Ofor, who flew in from Abuja this morning. Please, can we give him a round of applause? And also, we are honored to have the Consul General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, Michael Dillon. Also, I also have seated here today the Chairman Committee on Lagos Sustainable Goals and Investment, Honorable Sylvester Ogunkelu. Permit me to also welcome into our midst the Special Advisor, Works and Infrastructure, Mrs. Aramide Adeoye. You're most welcome, madam. And also, we are blessed to have the Honorable Commissioner for Transport, Dr. Frederick Olaidende. We are also honored to have the very distinguished Commissioner for Agric, Ms. Bisola Olusoyin. I will go on with that as soon as I get more updated list. At this point, we'll be taking Goodwill Messages. Allow me to invite the Acting Executive CEO, Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, Mr. Emeka Ofor, as he delivers his Goodwill Message.
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, please permit me to stand on already established protocol. It's a pleasure to stand on this podium this morning. The Lagos State Investment Roundtable presents a viable platform to discuss issues concerning Lagos as an investment destination, as well as highlight new opportunities that will facilitate socio-economic development. The theme for this year's event, attracting investments for economic recovery, is very apt, considering the rude shock that the global economy experienced last year through the intrusion of the global pandemic, COVID-19. It started first as a health pandemic, but grew to become an economic pandemic and changed the world, especially the investment space, for good. Lagos State, and indeed Nigeria, was not immune to the adverse impact this pandemic had on economic activities due to the disruption of the global value chain, many companies have been forced to close shop, while a number are still battling with the dramatic changes that are taking place in the global business landscape. As the global economy gradually adapts to these phenomenal changes, governments are expected to formulate policies that will support existing businesses and create opportunities for harnessing emerging activities. In this respect, the federal government of Nigeria initiated a variety of support programs and policies to stimulate the process of economic recovery. These policies and programs stress the need for the nation to look inward to guarantee food security, high quality and affordable healthcare, enhanced industrial productivity, and cutting-edge education system. We recognize that following the step of the FGM, the Lagos State Government, the Center of Excellence, launched a 5 billion intervention initiative tagged Lagos Economic Acceleration Program to support micro and small and medium enterprises in the state to recover and create more jobs post-COVID-19 pandemic. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the new National Development Plan 2022 to 2025 has projected an investment need of about 348 trillion. The private sector is expected to provide 80% of this investment cost, which translates to 298 trillion, which also translates to about 75 trillion yearly. Currently, the country attracts about $2 billion in terms of FDI, but with the size of the economy and the potentials inherent in Nigeria, the investment gap can be bridged if all hands are on deck to ensure that the needed social, political, and economic infrastructure are in place to support the investment drive. We are excited at the enabling growth in Lagos State, especially the SDGs, and commend the Office of the SDGs and Investment for organizing this roundtable. We've been working with them, and we will continue to work with them to ensure that the objectives listed in the Lagos teams are realized and investments are attracted to Lagos State and indeed Nigeria. We appreciate Mrs. Sholagbe Hammond and urge that NIPC and Office of the SDGs and Investment will continue to partner to ensure that the aspirations of Lagos State and indeed the whole of Nigeria are realized. At Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, we strive towards positioning Nigeria for enhanced investment flow by providing ready-to-use information, hand-holding investors to navigate the Nigerian investment space ecosystem, as well as advocating for a conducive business environment. We realize, and this is very important, that if Lagos breathes, Nigeria will breathe. And so we partner with the Office of the SDG and Investment to ensure that Nigeria breathes. We consider state investment promotion agencies and indeed the subnational governments an incredibly crucial ally to attracting and retaining investments. The Nigerian Investment Certification Program for States, NICPS, is aimed at building the capacity of the states to provide effective facilitation and aftercare support to investors. Also, through the collaboration of the Nigerian Governors Forum, NIPC produced a book of states to elevate investment prospects across Nigeria, as well as provide a tool for location benchmarking. We are excited at the launch of the Lagos Deal Book today because for us, it is the next step of the Book of States. So please, can you give the Lagos State a round of applause? Because when we started the Book of States, we only highlighted 10 opportunities that each state in Nigeria can use to showcase the attractiveness of their states and its competitiveness. but Lagos State has taken it further by launching the book, the deal book today. I want to use this opportunity to assure both the local and international business communities that NIPC, along with the state IPAs, will continue to avail investors up-to-date and pertinent information on processes and procedures of doing business in Nigeria. We would also sustain our drive as the advocator for sustainable, conducive business environment. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I appreciate the honor to stand on this podium. I congratulate the Governor, His Excellency Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, members of the Executive Council, and the good people of Lagos State for this event. On behalf of the Governing Council of Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, its management and staff, I wish to affirm our preparedness to sustain our engagement with the state to drive in investment for sustainable and inclusive growth and development. I wish you a great deliberation at this event, and I look forward to the action that will follow. Thank you, and God bless.
That was the acting executive CEO of Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, Mr. Emeka Ofor. Please, can we give him another round of applause? To our guests that are seated here today, Lagos State is the only state that you can term as a mini Nigeria. And the reason why you can term it the mini Nigeria, it's because every family in Nigeria has somebody in Lagos. Every family in Nigeria has somebody in Lagos. Not just that, Lagos, all parastatals. Lagos was the former capital of Nigeria. That is why you find all parastatals are still here. That makes it the hub of the Nigerian economy. If you love Lagos and you're passionate about Lagos, please can we give Lagos a round of applause? And this is also being driven by the theme that we have put together by the governor and his wonderful team. Allow me to welcome you to our midst before I go to our next Goodwill message from the Consul General of the Netherlands. Allow me to welcome you to our midst the Special Advisor on Innovations and Technology, Mr. Tuposun Alake. Thank you for making our time to be here. And also we have the DJ Public-Private Partnership, Mr. Okwe George is here as well. Also allow me to recognize the presence of Mr. Ibrahim Odumbonu, the Managing Director of Loma. I also have here seated here, he's been here all morning on his feet. He's sitting for the first, I'm seeing him sitting down for the first time today. The SSA to the Executive Governor, Mr. Lekon Fatudu, on SDGs. We are also blessed with royalty, presence of royalty. Please welcome with me, representing His Royal Majesty of Oniruland, Chief Olumide Oniru, the Olokpon of Iruland. Allow me to also welcome in his entourage, Prince Olanrewaju Ajasa. And also welcome with me the Managing Trustee of His Royal Majesty Abisogun II Foundation, Folusho Olaniyan, OON. Today we'll be discussing on exploring the investment opportunities of Lagos. We are still taking goodwill messages. Allow me to invite the Consul General of the Kingdom of Netherlands here in Lagos, Michael Daly, to speak to us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, the Deputy Governor, members of the State House of Assembly, Honorable Commissioners, Special Advisors, Royal Highness. But most of all, I would say fellow Lagosians. because we're all in this together. And I think today is actually a very positive day, a very good day where we share visions for the future and optimistic way of looking at things in Lagos State. When I was going through the preparation of this event, it struck me that in 1999 there was a Dutch architect, at the time a teacher at Harvard University, who visited Lagos and wrote a book about it and said basically two things. One, Lagos is a city of the future, meaning many other cities will actually follow Lagos' example in the future. And then he was also looking at population growth. And two, Lagos is in a certain way a miracle, because if you look at it on paper, if you look at the numbers, it cannot function. If you look at the electricity supply, the water supply, the roads, how can a city like that with such a population function? We all know that it does, and we're talking here about 1999. Since then, a lot of things have changed in a very positive way. And that's indeed the vision that the Lagos leadership has shown over these years. And this has happened because of investment. But investment, obviously we think about infrastructure and hardware, but investment is also investment in the people. Investment is in education, investment is also in healthcare. Those are investments that are also needed together with investment in obviously things that come to mind if you think about Lagos: the port, transport, roads, the blue line, which I hope I can soon buy a ticket for, the red line, which is in my mind and in all our minds, and we hope one day we can take it to the airport. These things are happening. These things take place. You know, it's easy to say, oh, we're not yet there, and so many challenges. Yes, but there are visible changes in Lagos. Let me give you a short example. Yesterday, I was at a business meeting, and one of the Dutch businessmen looked at his watch and stood up and said, sorry, I have to leave, I have to catch the train. Now, that was the train to Ibadan. That sentence, you know, it's like a normal sentence, I have to catch the train. But that sentence had not been pronounced in Lagos for many, many years. And now it has. So you see, we are making progress. If I look at Dutch investment, speaking on behalf of the Dutch community or the Dutch government, we have always been in Lagos. Look at companies like Nigerian breweries, Heineken, Wamco, Friesland Campina, but also the dredging companies, which of course have a never-ending job in a city like Lagos. But also engineering. Look at Eco Atlantic. The design for Eco Atlantic was done by a Dutch company, by Royal Hoskoning. So there's a close tie between the challenges that a city like Lagos has and the Dutch technology and the Dutch knowledge that can be used to work together on that. I'm also thinking of agriculture, because what we're looking at is the challenges of a mega city like Lagos, and the question, how do you feed the city? And to feed a city like Lagos with so many people inside is not an easy thing. So that's also a sector in which the Dutch government and the consulate are quite active in. Obviously, a consulate is not a company, so I don't invest, we don't invest, but we can facilitate and we can link, and we play that role of linking Dutch companies and bringing them together with the Nigerian public and private sector. Investment in people, investment in infrastructure. I'm extremely pleased that this whole event is also in the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals. Because before you know it, you only think of revenue, dividends, companies, stock exchange, but we're talking here about the people. If investment doesn't benefit all Lagosians, from the people who sell chargers in the street to the ones who own yachts, if it doesn't benefit all of them, then it will not work to push Lagos forward. Everybody should benefit from investment in Lagos. And I think by using the Sustainable Development Goals as a basis for investment, that is exactly the right track to take. Because on that line, you will make sure that development is widely spread. Let me conclude here by wishing us all a very, very good conference. I'm very honored to be here, and I'm looking forward to the further deliberations. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please can we give another round of applause to the Consul General from the Kingdom of the Netherlands. You know, we talked about the beauty of Lagos and the improvement in our infrastructure that moves from Lagos to Ibadan, which is a train. I've been opportune to board the train several times between Lagos, Abeokuta, and Ibadan, and the experience is such a beautiful one. Before I go to the Consul General of South Africa, I'd like to share a short story with you. I was in South Africa and Ghana in 2019 for business and a movie shoot. And while I am known for one thing, whatever city I find myself, I do not forget my home. I come from the part of Nigeria where we value pepper soup. We don't joke with pepper soup. So the hotel I stayed, I went to the restaurant in the hotel, and I called on the waiter and I said, "Waiter, please, I would like to have a bowl of catfish pepper soup." And you know the way Ghanaians speak, very eloquent. He said, "Massa, definitely you'll get a catfish pepper soup." I said, "Okay, no problem." 15 minutes after, he brought a very big steaming pot of pepper soup to me. When I opened it, I saw croaker fish inside. And I asked him, I said you should give me catfish pepper soup. He said, "Massa, this is catfish pepper soup." I said, "No, this is croaker fish in Nigeria." He said, "No, Massa, the fish, we cut it. Ladies and gentlemen, that was just to lighten you up a little bit. At this point, allow me, for the next Goodwill message, allow me to invite the Consul General from the Republic of South Africa, Ephraim Dake.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I wish to just, Your Excellency, Mr. Governor, correct something. My name is Daki Africa, and I see that it's not properly spelled in the program, but I think it's an error. Your Excellency, Mr. Governor, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, distinguished participants, please allow me to stand on established protocols. Mr. Governor, to also express a unique excitement about the possibility that very soon Lagos and Gauteng will have framework partnership, something that is going to be very good for the two cities and province and state. It is a great honor for the South African Consulate General to be given the opportunity to address the drop of the Inter-Africa Trade Fair 2021 taking place, brings together business leaders to explore investment opportunities in Africa. This gathering provides a platform to advance the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the AFCFTA, through which we must realize the ambitions of integration and to ignite economic recovery as the COVID-19 restrictions ease. This third investment roundtable could not have come at a better time, as the momentum increases in Lagos and across the continent to implement the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. With the free trade area, we are opening up new opportunities for an environment in which businesses can thrive to create an inclusive growth and job creation in the Lagos state. We are all here today to reset and reimagine a better future to address unemployment, poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. We are here to reflect on a new development path for the Lagos state and to open new investment platforms to build resilient industries. Like Durban and Gauteng, Lagos faces challenges such as youth unemployment and others. The youth constitute the motive force of our societies. Unless we address their genuine concerns and deploy their energy in productive activities, we will not be able to benefit from this dividend called the youth. It is pleasing that the Lagos state has recognized these challenges and has thus, among others, dedicated this roundtable to address the plight of young people and women in particular, who according to some reports, account for nearly 90% of the labor force in Africa in the informal sector, and almost 85% of the informal sector accounts for 25% of economic, or 85% of economic activity in Africa. Our focus and investment strategies must not ignore or overlook this reality. As we deliberate in the roundtable, we are committing ourselves to ensure that the education, skills development, health, and other human development indicators captured by the Sustainable Development Goals are realized. According to the latest OECD report of October 2021, a good investment framework or environment must include the following: an investment policy, investment promotion and facilitation, competition, trade, and a clear and predictable taxation regime, good infrastructure, human resource development, etc., and also public good governance as a requirement. Investors, especially foreign investors, must be confident that the environment is transparently conducive, and therefore there is no uncertainty that could make them leave later or disinvest. We want to congratulate the Lagos state for convening this important roundtable for economic recovery under the theme, Attracting Investment for Economic Recovery. As we ready ourselves for this important post-recovery, we must ensure that our investment policies are attractive enough to sustain business interest in the state. This moment we must not waste. Our conversation must note the challenges of our time and the need for a new and better platform for investors to feel confident about the need to invest in Lagos in particular and Nigeria in general. South Africa and Nigeria are the most important economic giants of this continent, and collaboration between the two bodes well for the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Area. We wish you all the best, Mr. Governor, and may your conversations today yield the expected outcomes for Lagos. The time to localize the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement must start now, and today provides that opportunity for the benefit and greater benefit of our respective countries, Nigeria and South Africa. And we hope that with the new MOU that we are likely to finalize, Mr. Governor, we'll be able to create better synergies between the economies of these two giants. And we wish the Lagos Roundtable the greatest of success, and may your deliberation yield positive results. I thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was the Consul General of South Africa, Republic of South Africa. Please, we'd like to correct that name. It was wrongly written in the program. The name is Daki Africa. Please, can we give him another round of applause, please? To the next Goodwill message that will be taken this morning. This is a gentleman who is very passionate about Lagos and in fact Nigeria as well. A man who shares the same birth date with Nigeria. He was born on the 1st of October. And now I see why he got himself into politics to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me the Chairman, House Committee on Lagos Sustainable Development Goals and Investment, Honorable Sylvester Ogunkelu.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Governor Kadri Obafemi Amsat, our noble commissioners hereby present today, the Special Advisor on Sustainable Development Goals, Mrs. Sholakwe Ahmad, the Senior Special Advisor on Sustainable Development Goals and Investments, Mr. Lekon Fatogo, the Permanent Secretary of my noble committee, Mrs. George Abosede, other distinguished government officials, managers, developers, social workers, entrepreneurs, and intending investors. It is a great privilege to be here today as we look at the enormous investment opportunities in Lagos State. I am Honorable Ogunkelu Sylvester Oluwadansi, a child of the soil, born and bred in Lagos. I am the Chairman House Committee on Sustainable Development Goals and Investment, Lagos. A young visionary youth who has explored different areas in the market space. Our numerous human and natural resources has made everything possible. Tourism, entertainment, transportation, policy, politics, fintech, banking and finance, sport, hospitality, business, and so on. I mean, everyone knows that once you come to Lagos, which they usually call Eko, you will blow, as we say. Meaning Lagos State is rich in opportunities. The strength and innovativeness of our youth is an advantage that in every stage, one can find a niche and a market space, a product or an idea to sell, and you will always find people of different classes who will buy your ideas or products. coupled with the extensive infrastructural development propagated by Lagos State government, we are the biggest economic, we are the biggest economy and industrial hub of Nigeria. With fast, our real estate sector increases over the year as access to seaport has made it easy to create manufacturing plants and depots for the production and distribution of goods. Lagos State consumes over 50% of this country's energy, and 80% of all Nigeria imports are handled by Lagos Port. It accounts for over 90% of Nigerian foreign trade flow because of the large population of consumers. Our competitiveness in our creative space drives everyone to reach even further and higher, which has greatly raised our excellence bar ahead of other states. This means if you slack, then go chance you. Our diversity is our strength. As you can see different tribes coming together without a sense of superiority or inferiority. This makes it possible for investors in different sectors to thrive without the risk of community uproar. As you can see, different investors come from different countries. China's, I've seen my brothers now that came from Netherlands. We see someone that came from South Africa, and many people that are intending to come to Nigeria. We see them going to invest in islands. You see China Island invest with Igbos. They will talk together without a community clash. Lagos is a place that we can do business that we believe the business will fast growing. Security, we are 100%. And because we have been educated over time to know that every innovation and industries, according to our local content policy, it is vital to our developmental prospect as a community at large, as it will provide a better job for our people. Prospect for our people. We have seen over the years how innovations have thrived in Lagos. Of course, time will fail me to talk about our hospitality industries, which has witnessed sense of growth over the years. Our state government have worked tirelessly to ensure that its policies are favorable to investors, and so Lagos State have become a fortress to the big brand of all over the countries. I am proud to be a son of the soil, and I'm proud to be part of this government. I welcome you once more as we exploit and riches of our great state. Once more, I'm Honorable Ogunkelu Oluwaseun Sylvester. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please can we make that applause a reverberating one for the House Committee Chair on Lagos Sustainable Development Goals and Investment, Honorable Sylvester Ogunkelu. We appreciate you a great deal. And as you all know, we're talking about investment and opportunities today. Before I bring up the leading governor in Nigeria to the podium, I'd like to share another short story with you of my experience at my bank. I went to my bank to expand my business, to seek a form of support to expand my private business. And while I was speaking to the bank manager, I noticed a man, an elderly man, standing outside the office of the bank manager. So I said, "Sir, why don't you attend to him while I wait? Because I'm a younger person, I have a little bit of time." So he said, "No problem. that I should sit on the couch while the man came in. When the man walked in, he was talking to the bank manager. He said, "Bank manager, I have a problem, so you can help me." So the bank manager said, "Okay, what problem do you have?" He said, "Bank manager, I want loan." The bank manager said, "What did you say?" He said, "I want loan." He said, "Do you mean loan?" He said, "Bank manager, you know the name, give me the money." So the bank manager said, "No problem. But before you can access this loan, you must have a form of collateral." "Sir, do you have any collateral?" He said, "Bank manager, my business is not cool. It is me, myself, and I." The bank manager said, "No. What I mean is, do you have something you can put down to access the money you want?" He said, "Okay, fine. What do you do?" He said, "Bank manager, I have 600,000 heads of cows." The bank manager said, "Fantastic. And then obviously you have landed properties." He said, "Yes, in Lagos and Abuja." He said, "Fantastic. We'll give you the loan." The man took the loan. Before he took the loan, he told the bank manager that he would like to stretch the loan, the repayment plan. The bank manager said, "No problem. As long as you have collateral, we will give you the money." So he collected the money, left, came back 2 years after, 18 months, 2 years after, and with 3 sacks of money. And he said, "Bank manager, this is the loan that you gave me. This is the interest of the loan." So he carried the 3rd sack. As he was about to leave, the bank manager called him. He said, "Why are you going with that sack of money?" The man said, "Bank manager, this is my money. You cannot take my money." The bank manager said, "No, we are a wonderful financial institution. A very great one for that matter. Let us keep your money." Then the man asked him the question. The man asked the bank manager a question. The bank manager asked him. He said, "Bank manager, you want to keep my money?" The bank manager said, "Yes." "You want my money?" He said, "Yes." "Say, bank manager, do you have collateral?" Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, permit me to invite a distinguished gentleman, a man admired across the length and breadth of this nation for his civil, cosmopolitan, progressive, honest, trustworthy, and calculated lifestyle and governorship. Allow me to introduce a gentleman par excellence whose light illuminates the room. If your hands are not too busy, please welcome with me my governor, your governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos State.
Thank you, please. Please be seated. Thank you. No, I won't need to pay collateral here today. We'll just talk about the deal books. We'll talk about the transactions. We'll try and ensure that it's public goods that are collateral and how well we can improve the space that we've met. But let's give our MC a round of applause. Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, members of the diplomatic corps that are here, especially Mr. Michael Denning, the Consul General of the Netherlands, thank you. Mr. Ephraim Dakin Africa, the Consul General of South Africa, Mr. Ben Llewellyn-Jones, the Deputy British High Commissioner, Mr. Emeka Offor, the acting head of NIPC, the chairman of our House Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, Honorable Sylvester Oluwaseun Ogunkelu, a real son of the soil, members of the State Executive Council that are here, especially the Special Advisor on Sustainable Development Goals and Investment, Mrs. Sholakwe Amond, body of permanent secretary that are here, especially the one in SGD and Investment Office, representative of the Oniru of Iruland, top captains of industry that are here today, this morning, distinguished guests, senior government officials, and I'm also told that there's a large audience online that have joined us. I think nobody has acknowledged them. MC, I think we need to acknowledge all of our online watchers. I hear they are in their hundreds. I think let's give them a round of applause. Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it's with an honor and a great pleasure to convey this roundtable discussion on investment with stakeholders in the Lagos investment ecosystem. Let me begin by acknowledging the impactful role of our investors, both domestic and foreign, and what they have played to our great state. We strongly believe that the continued growth and success of Lagos is premised on the strength and the diversity of our partnership, and that the strength and diversity is very much in evidence given the array of the discussants and the panelists that we've put together this morning. It is this such strategic partnership that accounts for Lagos being by far the leading recipient of local and foreign direct investments in the country. It is estimated, and I think the SA also said it this morning, that between 76 to 81% of total investment into Nigeria in the last couple of years have come into Lagos. These investments, they remain vital to our economic growth and our well-being, and it tends to support tens of thousands of jobs and the livelihood across the states. I think it's the Consul General of the Dutch that did say that even since 1999, when nobody believed that Lagos can continue to remain sustainable and great. Indeed, in the last 21 years, it has continued to be livable, it has continued to be sustainable, even with all of the very numerous challenges that it has. And so this is why a forum like this, it's really so important. And it presents a platform for harmonization of our respective visions and targets. And it will help us at agreeing key actions that will not only strengthen our existing investment partnership, but also initiate new ones. As a government, we understand the value of relationship in fostering economic resilience, particularly during times of uncertainty, like the one that we're all in. An uncertainty that is marked by the combined effort of a global pandemic. It also has effects of climate change. We've seen how difficult it was at the COP26 for even great nations to agree on anything. The host nation, at the end of the day, thought that they will achieve a 90 to a 95% success. They were only able to achieve barely 60%. This is how difficult it is for everybody globally right now. And so you begin to see effects of global change, you begin to see the effect of global inflation, you begin to see the effect of real poverty, social economic inequalities amongst all of us. It's not peculiar to us alone, it's not peculiar to environment, it is the reality of the pandemic and the global crisis that the whole world have had to deal with in the last 2 years. And Lagos, being a low-lying aquatic city, of course we know the numbers, is also further confined with how tiny it is in a very small space. I will continue to re-emphasize it, that Lagos represents less than 0.36% of this country, of the size of this country, right? And of that 0.36%, 1/3 of it is like Amsterdam, is all water. And so that becomes a lot of challenge for us, that is just these little dots we have, this amount of population that we call home and we call Lagos. And so Lagos continues to have a whole lot of challenges. And we see how our population density, it's becoming a lot of, issues for us. How climate change all around, our international, our Atlantic and our borderlines, and how the city in itself is fast growing into a mega city, and how the effects of what has happened or what is happening in other parts of the country, security issues, economic challenges, how it has continued to put a lot of pressure on Lagos. Because indeed, you don't need a passport to come into Lagos. You don't need a border post for you to drive into Lagos. But the challenges are there, and we'll continue to see how we raise up and brace up with these challenges that is facing us. And for us to put it in perspective, we believe that given the rising population and the limited geographical space that we have, that Lagos indeed require about $15 billion over the next 5 years on infrastructure alone. On infrastructure alone, $15 billion. $15 billion is about 5 times the total budget that we currently have. Lagos budget, it's about $3 billion today. But so let's compare that budget of Lagos to other cities, maybe not even in similar numbers of the population that we have. And so if you go to the state of Massachusetts and look at Boston and look at the state of Massachusetts, their budget for this year is almost $50 billion. It's $47.6 billion. If you look at the state of New York, that is about 15 million people, their budget is over $200 billion. And so when you compare and you see a state of Lagos that we're struggling with a budget of $3 billion. If you look at Johannesburg, that we can say that we're both in Africa that have a budget of about $4.5 billion. If you look at Cairo in Egypt, because it's important for us to compare like for like, and you see where the challenges are, what the numbers are, and why we need to continue to ensure that engagements like this are important. City of Cairo has a budget of 7.2. The budget of Nigeria as a country is 35.6 this year. The budget of Egypt as a country is 150 billion. So you can begin to see that there's a lot of economic pressure because the numbers in itself do not speak to the huge density population that we all have to deal with. We must find, and urgently so, solutions to these problems. That is the burden of responsibility that lies on us as political and business leaders. Of course, as we as politicians, it is necessary because that is what we promise. That is what we're elected to do. But as business people that are here, it's also imperative for you to join us because you need us and we need you to ensure that survival is important. And you need to survive so that your businesses can continue to thrive. And so it's important for both of us to see that we could be different sides of the coin, but we're certainly the same coin. And so that's why we all need to think through the solutions that jointly face us in healthcare, in education, in agriculture, in environment issues, on security, on technology, automation. But we dare say that all of these things are encapsulated under our own team's agenda, which is what is governing our economic blueprint. Even the best strategies, solutions, and plans, they do require funding. For them to be useful, and like what we usually say in Yoruba, without money, nobody speaks. Honorable, right? Without money, you really cannot make a whole lot. But distinguished investors, this is where you all come in. As partners and the vehicles that will deepen the capital and financial mechanism that will underwrite the solution of all the challenges and problems that we face. As a subnational and national entities, and all of us, even in this global planet. Over the years, Lagos has demonstrated enormous capacity to work together with you, the private sector. We've worked with you to create new value for the states and for our citizens. We've seen partnership in some of our private sector collaborations. We've developed iconic structures. It was the CJ Netherlands that also said it. that Eco-Atlantic was developed by Dutch planners, by Dutch researchers. And we can see what is coming out from there. These are all private sector-driven partnerships. On Eco-Atlantic now, we see 30, 34, 36-story buildings coming up there. We've seen new investments, private sector-driven, in Victoria Island where we are, in Ikoyi, down the road, on Lekki, Epe axis. We've seen new developments coming around the suburb. We've seen new things in infrastructure. But the state government is also not leaving it to you alone. The state government, even in the next couple of days, will also be unveiling and be handing over new developments that we have done in Ibishi Housing Estate, in Shogutedo Housing Estate, in Igondo Housing Estate. And so we begin to see that this partnership, both of us require ourselves. We have our celebrated Lekki-Ekpe Express Road. It was funded on a PPP model. The state government have taken it forward. If you go from the Ekpe end and you're coming on the express road now, the state government is working at improving from a 2-lane to a 6-lane rigid pavement. And we believe that once we even finish that with the private sector, we can also begin to push it further down towards Ajah. And this is why we believe that partnership is important, given all of the investment on the Lekki Free Trade Zone. That's just one of the free zones we have in Lagos. Today, we believe that in that zone that has over 16,000 hectares, we have jobs in thousands that are being created. We have investment that is close to $20 billion, right, that has been put into that place. From the refinery, the fertilizer complex, the ports, the Lekki ports that is coming, and the Lekki World and the Lekki Free Zone company that is also there. So we've seen investment that has grown exponentially on that corridor. And these are all the whole essence of partnership. We see co-investment and partnership have also happened in the last 2 years more closely for us. They've also been mentioned. It is this same investment and partnership that we're deploying on our red line and our blue line initiatives. We've been on this journey for a while. We didn't start the blue line, and you can see that government, we're the only sub-national that is building a real project by ourselves. But with our partnership in the last 2 years, we're certain that with the financial closure that we have, not only will I and the CJ, the Consul General of Netherlands, be flying or be riding on the train by the end of next year, indeed you'll be excited with the solution that will come about. So red line, blue line are solutions that we've created with partnership, right? And these are solutions that we believe, will be critical, to our citizens. We've also seen partnership being put together in the last 2 years on new road infrastructure. That's why Oniru is here. At Oniru in Victoria Island, we've been able to work partnership. We've grown new roads. We've grown new development. And creatively, as a state now, we're also even using partnership for areas where you consider them as only government go-to area. In education, we have creative budget financing, and we're scaling up our investments, in education, using the private sector. We're scaling up our investment in in emergency service, in our fire, engines and all of this with the private sector. These are areas in which government usually struggle to be able to raise the funding for it. But because of how we've been able to creatively utilize our balance sheet, we are getting the private sector that are joining us to raise the required funding, for some of these critical areas of our government. And of course, what do you expect from this investment? You expect guaranteed reasonable returns. And these are some of the things that I want to assure you. This is where, as government, we can come in, and we certainly will come in, to create the enabling environment, the right policies, and the overall structure to ensure that you continue to strive and you thrive in Lagos, for your investment to be safe, to be secure, and to be innovative and continue to excel. Indeed, we have a huge responsibility to develop critical, hard and soft infrastructure that can act as catalysts for what you do invest in. Just a couple of weeks ago too, the SDGs&I were also, at an investment roundtable talking about the green bonds, and Lagos trying to also lead in conversations in that area. These are climate funds that are available that other cities are using. So Lagos needs to be able to position itself to be able to also access, innovative, creative bonds, like what the green bonds will have, and what people are using to be able to develop, resilient cities like the one we have in Lagos. Not only are we doing this, we'll also continue to do more. And we'll also ensure that we'll continue to improve on our public transparency, improve on our fiscal discipline, and on our debt sustainability. We cannot just keep a lip service to this. Any investor, any serious investor needs to know or wants to hear you that what are you doing with your debt sustainability? How well are you disciplined with your fiscal issues? And how well are you transparently running your government? Our performance speaks for itself. That's why Fitch Ratings recently, an international rating agency, increased not only on our bond, but also on our sustainability, increased us to a AAA plus, as a subnational. As a subnational, and I'm sure it's also because of the kind of things that we're doing. And so I cannot fail at this junction that we're entering another new age of opportunity and optimism. Opportunity and optimism have to go together. We see the opportunity, the optimism also have to be there. Because indeed, as leaders, we cannot fail. We cannot give up. We certainly cannot say that we're tired of it. So that's why our optimism is real. And we see that optimism not only in Lagos, we see it in Nigeria, we see it in Africa. The Consul General from South Africa also had mentioned all of the great things and all of the deals that are being signed in Durban yesterday, day before yesterday, and I'm sure they're running up today, on the African Free Trade Zone Agreement. This is one area that not only Lagos, but the whole of Africa needs to begin to talk to themselves and work collaboratively. We believe that it will promise, the gathering provides solutions around ensuring that there are transformational movements in Africa. And I've heard, the conversation that Nigeria is actually picking all of the big deals, in South Africa, right? And we're excited because indeed, this is the biggest country in the whole of Africa. So it's appropriate, my brother from South Africa, that even if you go to Durban and we sign all the deals and bring them here, we are all working together to ensure that African Continental Free Trade Zone works and works for all of us. We've also seen, like I mentioned, the challenges coming out from the COP26. This was something that we have expected that it will raise the bar for us. Our Commissioner for Health and some other senior government officials were there to represent Lagos. And indeed, we showed ourselves that we're serious, we're ready to ensure that all of the blueprints and all of the prints for us to reduce carbon emission is real, and it's something that we're taking up very seriously as a government. We believe that once we play our own part, the private sector needs to also come with us and meet us midway, so that indeed all of the numbers that needs to come down on greenhouse emissions, emissions, and all of the things that we need to reduce effects of climate change and not just lip service. We need you as much as you need us. And we are giving these commitments to say that these are some of the things that we'll continue to do as a government. All of this combined can set our economy, the economy of Lagos, on a path of new beginning. We believe that this is a path of new prosperity. We believe that it's a path of new ways that great things will begin to happen in our state. We certainly must seize this opportunity with both hands. We believe that this gathering here today is one that will signpost a lot of things for us. Ideas will also be shared, new partnership will be forged, and we'll be witnessing something very important: the deal book. The Lagos Deal Book is a compendium of investment opportunity across the state, as well as information about the incentives for making investments and the processes for doing so. So once again, we're okay, I'll round it up very soon. So that I don't cross the way of your deal books transaction. Once again, we're coming up as a subnational to put our credibility on the line, to say that these are the promises, This is the way we want to be addressed. These are the things that we want to do. Work with us, partner with us. Let us jointly create it. Let us contribute, this cake that will outlive all of us. I believe that that's the way to go. I want to encourage all of you to certainly take advantage of the rich information that is contained in this deal book to guide you and to help you to make very informed decisions. And the way they say it, with information, that is power in your hand. And you certainly have, opportunity to make, the right investment. And it's something that we believe will be of value, will be of interest to each and every one of you. And because we've taken our time, and some of the commissioners are here that are still going to talk, extensively about some of the various components in the compendium. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I urge you all to continue to support us as partners and to collaborate with us in Lagos State. And we believe that once we do that, not only will we be creating a sustainable economy, but we'll be creating prosperity together. We'll be creating a future together. We'll be creating a greater Lagos that we'll all talk about. We'll be creating it together. And indeed, our citizens will be the real beneficiaries of it all. I want to appreciate you. I want to encourage the SGD office not to give up. I want to encourage all of us that are here that indeed it's a journey, not a destination. Thank you all very much for listening. And have a good morning.
Mr. Governor, before Mr. Governor will take his seat, may I crave your indulgence, sir?
A longer trend of data for us to have very stable assumptions, for us to allow for complexities in these methodologies that we are going to adapt.
Well, we are sorry.
For the estimate.
Hello, check. The frequency is jamming, so forgive us for that, Mr. Governor and the Deputy. Please forgive us for that. Now, right now, we go to the launch of the deal book. Allow me to invite Mr. Governor and his wonderful, intelligent, warm deputy to please come to where the deal book is situated. And also, allow me to invite to join the team the essay on sustainable development goals, Mrs. Hammond.
Done. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we give Lagos State a round of applause, I beg of you. And if you must know, the deal book is part of the package you'll be going on with today. Everybody's going to have an opportunity of getting a copy of that deal book. Can we give Lagos a round of applause, please? The deal book launched by Mr. Rhodes himself, Mr. Transportation, Mr. Education, Technology, Tourism, our wonderful governor himself. And is ably supported by his wonderful deputy, a man who makes simplicity the ultimate sophistication. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, you have access to the deal book. Each and every one of us, the package that will be given to you to take home today, we have a copy of the deal book inside of it. Please, can we give my cosmopolitan, intelligent governor a round of applause with his deputy? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. While Mr. Governor was speaking, I got assurance that I can use him as a collateral. Thank you so much, sir. And he was supported by the amiable deputy governor. I want to say thank you. Please, can we say thank you with a round of applause to the governor and the deputy governor? When Lagos sneezes, the whole of West Africa catches cold. Lagos, the center of excellence. Lagos is the mini Nigeria. When Lagos gets it right, Nigeria gets it right. With what is happening here today, this is a testament that this country is moving forward. This state is moving forward. Once again, can we give the governor and his deputy and other cabinet members a round of applause? Right now, the handbags have been given. Inside of it, you will find the deal book. Mr. Governor, sir. Mr. Governor, sir, I would like to report my nephew to you. My nephew attends a school somewhere on the island. And one day he came home and he said to me, "Uncle, I think I'm the best student in my class." I said, "That's wonderful. That's why your mom pays the kind of money she pays." So I asked him, "So what happened in school today?" He said to me, "Uncle, I have an American, a fellow student who is an American, another student who is a Briton." I said, "Okay, so what happened in school today?" He said, "The American student got up and said the Americans are the first to go to space." I said, "That's wonderful. They've done wonderful developments in America." And I said, "Okay, what about the British student?" He said the British student said they are the first to go to the moon. I said, "That's fantastic too." So I said, "Okay, while they were talking, what were you saying?" He said, "I told the whole class, even told the proprietress of the school that Nigeria will be the first to go to the sun." I said, "Why would you say such a thing, that Nigeria will be the first to go to the sun? The sun is so hot, even here on earth, because even with the distance, you will get some sunburn. It will be very hot. It will burn anybody." He said, "No, you don't understand. I told them we'll go there in the night when it's not hot." So, Mr. Governor, I want to withdraw him from that school and send him to another school. Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to the potpourri of investments in Lagos. According to our programs, if you look at it, allow me to invite the very distinguished Special Advisor on Works and Infrastructure, Mrs. Aramide Adioye.
Thank you. Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Mr. Deputy Governor, the House Committee Chair, Honorable Sylvester Bukelu, all other invitees, the Consul General, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So I'll be speaking to, and I hope the slides can come up now. Lagos State is the financial economic capital of Lagos, West Africa, and also the seventh largest economy of Africa. This says, beyond saying this, can I have the slides? So within the time, 5 minutes allotted to me, I'll attempt to speak to some slides that will give, it's like a snippet to what investors can do in the transport sector. Can the slides come up? It's just 15 slides, and I'll attempt to speak to it in 5 minutes. Okay, Lagos State is considered as one of the most congested cities in Africa and one of the largest cities in the world, processing 262 vehicles per kilometer traffic into the state. It's the third worst in the world in an overall composite traffic index and worst in terms of daily traffic commuting times and motorist dissatisfaction index. The demand for trips in Lagos metropolitan area by transportation modes is approximately 24 million per day, and demand is likely to go to over 40 million trips by 2032. According to the Dane Institute for Research, the economic cost is estimated at 14.12 million per hour per day, and that comes to about 3.834 trillion per annum lost by Lagosians while commuting. And so the slide, if it comes up, shows you the congestion around Lagos. And when you come into Lagos, from the point of entry at the airports, it all looks like, what is this? But for us, we see opportunity in all of the problems. To say it's not just the problems that you see, but what are we doing? What are we challenging ourselves to solve? And so, in the transport sector, like I said, that I'll be speaking to, I'm giving you snippets as to investments, possible investments that you can do. Coming into the airport, the Lagos International Airport, we intend to have a bypass road at the back of the airport. It's a 9-kilometer road. It's an alternative that you can go and veer off the expressway on the Lagos, the current Agege Motor Road, and then you veer it at the back. It's open up for investment. We are almost at closure between the federal authorities, and I think that it's a good investment for anyone to come in. It's going to be told, so the returns on investments are guaranteed. The outline business case is ready, and the Office of Sustainable Development will be able to go on further with this. This particular project is encapsulated in 4 phases. The first phase is the 9-kilometer road. The second phase then moves up to the northern part so that you can then be able to connect. Can the slides please come up? Because people can then appreciate, because this is supposed to be an appetizer to whet investors' taste buds. Well, so that it then see the 4 phases. The phase 1, what we can do now. The phase 2 on the northern side, where you can then have the bridge. The phase 3 that you can connect further down south, and then a further one that connects. Okay, so all right. Okay, I'll just So the 4 phases. The phase 1, like I said, will address the congestion around the airport so you can actually go from the punch. At the punch, that's only Reke side. You can just take it at the back of the airport, and then you take it straight to Shasha, Egbeda. You bypass the traffic. It's a 9-kilometer road, to be told, so that people can have alternatives when they come out of the airport. They don't, because from the airport, what speaks to you is, what is the city all about? So we're trying to provide alternatives. The phase 2 is the northern connection to Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, while the phase 3 is the southern connection to Egbe Road. The phase 4 is a southern connection that we intend to connect to Solo and Okota. So that way, right from there, you can go in 4 directions to be able to commute around Lagos. So that's one of the roads. The next investment delight is around the planned airport. Like I said, present airport, what can we do to ease commuting? And then for future, what are we doing in the area of the new airports? Part of the things we're doing now is that Lekki-Ekpe Expressway that Mr. Governor did say. We're also planning for the future to say the airports as it is, both the cargo airports and, of course, the regular airports. So developments around there. Investors can come up with ideas. We already have ideas and plans. The Office of PPP, we've done some studies. And then, of course, we expect that investors will take advantage of that to be able to move forward. But beyond that, it's a road that when you come out from the port as it is now, the coast, so you can take the alignment on to the coastal road that you can actually go to the Jebu Ode Bini bypass. That way, you do not even need to go via the regular road. You can just take it from the port and then be able to connect to Jebu Ode. So those are all of the developments around the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the Dangote refinery, the second bridge, and all of the service areas around that area. So we have also the Jedegberigbe Road. Everybody knows that we have finished the phase 1 of the Jede Road that goes from present Ikodu to Ewelekpe. But we are supposed to take that road from Ewelekpe to Tamaga and Berigbe. So the several roads of connectivity. Our rice mill, I'm glad that the Commissioner for Agric is here. We have a rice mill with 32 metric tons per hour capacity. As a state, we realize that for us to be able to move these products out swiftly, alternative roads beyond what we have now, we need to begin to look into them. So the road, so you have several connecting roads from that rice mill that are available that investors can actually take up to develop. And of course, the Fortman Bridge, everyone knows that we are already on the phase 2 of our RFP, stage 2 of it, and that we're hoping to get to a financial close by end of next month, so that at least we can have a preserve bidder and a reserve bidder, so that we can then begin to start beginning construction, sign up the agreements, and then be able to start full construction work. So you have cross-sections of what that bridge is, snippets of what kind of bridge that we have, and developments, what the toll gates are supposed to look like. And I think that investors will come in here to say, what kind of tolling system can we have? How can we partner with the state government? What can we do? I wish the slides will come up. So beyond the toll plaza, the Omo Creek is also, everybody knows that land is a gold mine in Lagos. It's a gold mine in Lagos and everywhere seems already developed. But beyond Shongotedo, on the Lekki corridor, beyond Shongotedo, there is really no land anymore. There is no land anymore because you actually have the creek and development cannot go beyond that. And so what have we done as a government? We've planned and then designed a bridge that can cross the existing Omo Creek now. So it's a bridge that is less than 1 kilometer, founded on large diameter board piles that can cross. Because once you're able to cross that, you can then have access to large expanse of land for real estate developments. That you can do a sites and services scheme. Yes, we want to do sites and services scheme at the same time to have different mix of developments. And that's an investor's delight that you can come up and partner with Lagos State government. More importantly also, we are also looking at the areas of social housing. Everybody knows it that the largest number of cargoes that come into Lagos, the containers never go back. For us, it presents an opportunity to see what can we do actually with social housing. What can we do? And of course, the investors are here, that you can decide that, okay, we'll partner with state government and see what we can do to have livable houses for people at affordable rates using those containers so that they don't become a nuisance to the environment. And then, so you can have prefab houses so that those containers actually become useful to us. So, the last slide that for me would have been fantastic is the 21-story collapsed building. The last slide, the second to last slide of the presentation. So you can see the 21-story building, and for us, the two sides of the coin. It's a disaster, but for us also, we also think that it's an opportunity for us to sanitize and begin to do things differently. So what are the opportunities for investors here? You have opportunity to be able to provide ISO-certified labs all around the 57 local government areas that we have in the state. That you can take in 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes, you can actually take samples for testing in all of the LGAs. It costs money to set up ISO-certified labs all around for material testing. Government alone cannot do this one, but you can have investors come in and say, we will partner with the state government. If you have minimum of even one, but the more, the better, because of all of the developments in all of the LGAs. So those labs can all be established there. The other thing also is, it also presents opportunity to partner with local engineering, and I'm glad that Royal Ascon, the Consular General, is here. Yes, we have executive order 5, but it's an opportunity for engineering firms particularly Lagos with all of its characteristics with flooding, opportunities to partner in the areas of flooding, erosion control. They are there, they are here. But then you can open, as an investor, you can open up and then partner with government, with our local engineering firms to see exactly what we can improve on all of the design parameters that we have. And then, of course, for the inspectors, for the licensed inspectors, you can have firms that will collaborate with the state government in the areas of retainership, being licensed inspectors to certify those buildings using best practices. I think those are things that people can they are low-hanging fruits. The deal book will give you a roadmap, but these are real low-hanging fruits that investors sitting around here can plug into, and then for further information, of course, the Office of OSDGI can answer. Likewise, also in our office. So finally, in concluding, Lagos, like I say, is open for business. We invite investors across the globe to take advantage of the abundant opportunities as well as the relatively safe and secured environment in the States. We look forward to having you on board soonest. Thank you. I don't know why the slide is not I don't know why it's not coming up. They've had it since yesterday.
Mr. Governor, please permit me to welcome the Deputy High Commissioner, British Deputy High Commission to Lagos, Mr. Ben Lewin-Jones, OBE. Please, can we give him a round of applause, please? We're working on the slides to come up. There's a bit of technical glitch. Definitely it will come up for all of us to see. It's a round table, so we're not in a hurry to go anywhere, even though we're business, we're very busy people. Okay, the slides are coming up now. The SA Works and Infrastructure will be coming back up again.
So this speaks to, that's a rice mill in white. Okay. So the alternatives of roads that are available for development are indicated, all in white. The rice mill is what is, you see a small box there, that's a rice mill. All the alternatives there. The Fortman Bridge is also indicated, also in white. So it's available, there are roads that are available for development. Next slide, please. This represents the Fortman Bridge. So you can actually see it starting from Abramadesoya all through the lagoon, Badore, across and coming out by the spark lights on Lagos Ibadan Expressway. But that's not what is important. What is important is what kind of tolling infrastructure that we can have. Next slide. So it speaks to, next slide. That's a cross-section of the bridge as it is. The BRT on the land side, on the roadway side, you can see the BRT stands, the driveway, and then the corridor for the rail in between as a preserved corridor. Next slide, please. So that's the tolling infrastructure. You can see this represents the shape of a boat, of a canoe. It's a 16 number. So the tolling infrastructure there, that's where investors can actually begin to plug in now to say, yes, we can do this. Yes, so this speaks to, so it's still the same boat concept of the tolling plaza. And then Omo Creek. So this Omo Creek now is, so you can see that the large expanse, that's a creek. Beyond it, then you then see the large expanse of land that is that once you build that bridge across, you can then, of course, do reclamation, and then you have open up a lot of area for real estate development. The next slide. So this is it. It depends on what you want to see. Yes, you see crisis, but it also portends the opportunity for investors to come in. In which areas can you come in? Provision of ISO-certified material labs, testing labs across the 7 LDAs. It costs money to have ISO-certified lab, regularly calibrate your readings, and then make sure that international best practices are conformed to it. But that's what exactly you can do. You can also have certified license inspectors that can go around. So have companies that will indemnify government and say, we'll do this for you. So they're like a test inspection company all around. Then partnership with local engineering design firms, because then you can then go. Finally, like I said, Lagos is open for business, and we invite investors across the globe to take advantage of the abundant opportunities as well as relative safe and secure environment in the state. We look forward to having you.
Mr. Governor, Deputy Governor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that was the Special Advisor, Works and Infrastructure, Mrs. Aramide Adeoye. Please, can we give her another round of applause? And to our next speaker, still around the Port Borough of Investment in Lagos, allow me to invite the Honorable Commissioner for Transport, Dr. Frederick Oladende.
Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, Mr. Deputy Governor, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat. Let me stand on existing protocol. My job this morning is to throw some numbers around and then to kind of whet your appetite on what is available in Lagos. Now, the special advisor said that we generate about 24 million trips, and that's true. And of the 24 million trips that we generate, 16 million of those trips are mechanized trips. Now, the 16 million mechanized trips that we generate in Lagos have to ply our roads. So about 95% of those trips ply our roads. In the next 10 years, 12 million more mechanized trips will be added to the 16 million. And if you're experiencing today an average of 20 kilometers per hour, you can imagine what you would experience in 10 years' time. One thing I want to say is that Lagos State, which is about 0.36% of Nigeria, will never build itself out of congestion. So we have to look for alternative ways of moving people in a sustainable manner and in a resilient manner from one point to the other. And that's where the Strategic Transport Master Plan actually comes into play. So in order to move people sustainably from one point to the other, the Strategic Transport Master Plan has identified alternatives to roads. And that includes the rail line, which Mr. Governor talked about, and I'll be going through those in a minute. And the next one is water transportation. The Strategic Transport Master Plan identifies 7 rail lines, 2 of which Lagos State has embarked on. The first one is the Blue Line, which is a 27-kilometer line from Okukumaiko all the way to Marina. Now, this project is split in 2. I'm not going to attempt to show slides because of the technical issues that we're going through, but I think you can follow what I'm saying. So we have split the Blue Line into 2 projects, into 2 phases. The first one is from Mile 2 all the way to Marina, and that will be operational by the 4th quarter of 2022. We are talking to, we have engaged a consultant, and we are looking for concessionaires that will buy rolling stock, that will buy depot equipment, signal communications, etc., while the government has focused on developing the fixed infrastructure. Now, the concessionaire would also be responsible for taking the line from Mile 2 all the way to Okukumaiko. So that investment opportunity is available, and we're willing to talk to interested parties. The red line, which the governor also talked about, is an interesting line from Agbado all the way to Marina. So we're sharing the same line with NLC, that's the federal government. That's the same line that takes you from Lagos all the way to Ibadan. So we would be sharing that line from Agbado all the way to Oyingbo. And we would then take that line from Oyingbo all the way to Marina. We're already talking to a concessionaire, so hopefully there'll be other opportunities around developing the parking around the stations and etc. Now, there are other lines that are important in Lagos today. The first one is the Green Line all the way from Marina to Lekki Free Trade Zone. This is a 68-kilometer line. This would decongest the corridor of Lekki Free Trade Zone. We are expanding Lekki Expressway, which is quite important. However, as I have said, with the population coming into Lagos, we need to diversify the traffic that we have so that they can use alternative modes of transportation. We also have the Purple Line, which will go from Redeem, that will cut through Alimosho area, go to Lasu, and then the final destination would be Ojo. That will mop up the millions of trips that is generated in the Alimosho area. And that's a very interesting line to actually look at. We also have the Orange Line, which would serve the people of Ikorodu. Ikorodu is a very interesting area. Ikorodu is exploding right now. At the moment, there are about 1 million people living in Ikorodu, and that number is set to double in the next 10 years. And so the Orange Line will start from Ikeja and will go all the way to Agbowa, serving all the people in Ikorodu. The other line that I need to talk about is the Yellow Line, which is from Ota all the way to National Theatre. And that would also serve the people of the most populous local government, and it's about 34 kilometers, and it will be able to generate or to cater for over 500,000 trips per day. Now, I have taken time to actually list out the rail lines, because when you look at what is happening in Lagos today, you would find out that there is no way that we will be able to cater for over 40 million trips that we're expecting in 10 years' time by road. Another interesting opportunities for investors are the interchanges. We are aware of what has happened in Oshodi. Oshodi interchange is a great investment that caters for the bus mode, as well as the first and last mile. And then we have the interstate, and very soon it will serve one of our rail corridors. There will be opportunities in areas like Ikeja. There will be opportunities in Yanaiba. Yaba also will become a great hub where we can develop interchanges. And the reason why I am putting this on the table is because Interchanges are areas where people meet. There are various modes of transport can meet, and then people can do business, and a lot of business will take place there. It's an area, I mean, it's an opportunity for real estate, and our investors are welcome to look at some of the interchanges that we have in the Strategic Transport Master Plan. Now, recently, the Lagos State government has embarked on the reform of the water transport mode. A third of Lagos is surrounding its water, and it only makes sense for us to actually optimize the resources that we have. And so there is a reform going on our water transport, our waterways, and we are working with the Global Future Cities, which is a UK-funded program with the British government, and I would like to thank them for everything, the technical assistance that we have gotten from them. And the Strategic Transport Master Plan actually identifies 26 water routes, of which 4 have been prioritized. And the 4 that have been prioritized and are ready for investors to take up include Ikorodu, Elegbeta to Marina, Ikorodu, Adak to Faloma, which is 5 calories, Ijede, Badore to 5 calories, and Ibute Ojo going through Ijegun-Egba, Mile 2, Liverpool to Marina. Those 4 routes are ready for business. In the work that we're doing with the future cities, global future cities, they've also identified 2 terminals. So we all know what is happening in Apapa. We know that Apapa is over-congested, and we need to diversify the movement of containers, especially from road to water as well as to rail. But the immediate attention is to develop our waterways in such a way that we can begin to move cargoes on our waterways. And so 2 terminals have been identified, one in Ikorodu, and the other one in Mile 12. The opportunities that exist for the terminal operation include the concessioning of the terminal, barge operation, the development of boats in Lagos State, and the Lagos State government is willing to talk to anybody that wants to develop its plant so that we can begin to develop boats here, and then it can be cheaper, and then we can create more jobs. So those investment opportunities are available to our investors. If you need further information, apart from the deal book, we also have the Strategic Transport Master Plan. You can contact SDG, who will then contact either the Ministry of Transportation for further information or the Lagos State Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, who is actually responsible for developing the Strategic Transport Master Plan. So I would like to welcome you to this roundtable. Thank you for listening to me, and we look forward to talking to all of you, those of you who are interested in the investment available.
Please, once again, can we give the Honorable Commissioner for Transport, Dr. Frederick Oladende. Thank you so much, sir. At this point, we'll be having our next speech. This will be coming in virtually. I believe we're ready. It's from the Honorable Commissioner for Energy, Mr. Larry Odushote. Are we ready with the video feed? While we're waiting for the video feed, we'd like to say a very big thank you to those who joined virtually. Over almost 1,000 persons are logged in. And please, if your hands are not too busy, let's give them a round of applause to show that they are with us here as well. Okay, while they are working on that, allow me to invite the Honorable Commissioner for Agric, the very intelligent, the very warm, awesome, brilliant, Ms. Bisola Olusoya. Please, can we give her a round of applause? Okay, maybe we'll just hold on with Commissioner for Energy. Is he set? Is he ready? He's ready. Okay, permit me, ma'am, to take him. We'll take the Honorable Commissioner for Energy, Mr. Larry Odushote. We need him to be very audible. We can hear him slightly. If you can send him a message, tell him to increase his volume, to push up his volume. And if you can enhance it from here, please, we appreciate it if you do that. Okay. All right. Can you send a message to Mr. Leary that we'll come back to him while we sort out that technical aspect? Please welcome with me the very gorgeous Honorable Commissioner for Agric, Ms. Bisola Olusoya.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Mr. Deputy Governor, to the dignitaries here present, my colleagues, everybody, good afternoon. So I will be showcasing a little bit of what we have in the agricultural sector in terms of investment opportunities, and hoping that people in this room would tap into it. We say Lagos is the most populous state, most populous city in Nigeria, possibly in Africa, fifth largest economy, and poised to grow. Currently, in terms of the food transactions that occur in Lagos on an annual basis, it's over 5 trillion naira. And as the population is estimated to grow within the next 10 years to well over 30 million people, the estimate is that this food transactional value would likely go up to about 7 trillion naira on an annual basis. What this portends is, looking at the fact that Lagos also is the smallest city-state in Nigeria, just 3,577 square kilometers, and yet the most populous. Land constraint is already a factor in how much food can be produced in the state. About 85% of what is consumed in Lagos is imported either from outside the country or from other parts of the state. And we have seen what stress the food systems can undergo within the last 1.5 years. Talking about the COVID-19 pandemic and the effect of the lockdown, to the numerous strikes we had around the food systems in Lagos. If you would permit me, Mr. Deputy Governor, sir, we seem to have a bit of a ruckus at the back, which seems to be distracting a number of people. So those at the back, please, if you could. Thank you. There seems to be an argument at the back that is very distracting. If they could actually take it out, that would actually be very helpful. So back to what I was saying. With regards to the stress on the food systems, it definitely means the opportunity is massive for investors to tap in. The reason for this is we must all eat. This event alone, we've had tea break or breakfast this morning. People are obviously going in and out, so there would obviously be tea break. There would obviously be lunch. People would definitely go out for dinner. So every day, you must eat something. Even if you are fasting, you must break that fast. And even if you go on a dry fast, maybe you can only go on a dry fast for maybe a maximum of 3 days without you having to eat something. So food definitely is a prerequisite to you being alive. During the pandemic, we noticed how much people wanted food. regardless of the issues around health, regardless of the issues around security, food was that critical element that held it all together. So I always say this, the three legs of any economy are food, health, and security. Once food is out of the equation, everything falls to pieces. So even if you have a worse pandemic than this, and food is available, obviously things can be managed. But imagine having no food, and then you have a pandemic or something else occurs, or a disaster occurs, all hell will break loose. So definitely coming into the food space is a sure banker for anyone. In Nigeria, we say that agriculture contributes 25% to the GDP of the country. But what is the contribution of agriculture to the GDP of Lagos? It is very, very low, extremely low. Yet, we are the most populous state. People must feed on a daily basis. How are we tapping into these opportunities? On a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, 5 trillion naira worth of food is consumed. How much of this are we tapping into? Looking at what we have around the markets in Lagos, Lagos is the biggest market in sub-Saharan Africa. It is the market most multinationals want to tap into. So, how are we organizing our market system such that we have a very effective, efficient system around getting food to the tables of consumers, as well as ensuring that the producers are harnessing the opportunities and making money for sustainability within the space? We are not doing so well in this regard. What we have is traffic congestion because of disorganized market systems. And when I say traffic congestion, you have at least a minimum of 50,000 vehicles stuck in traffic every day. What this means is that one vehicle multiplied by 50 would definitely expend additional 3 liters of fuel on a daily basis. This would contribute or translate to about 25 million naira per day, and this would translate to 8.4 billion naira per year spent on fuel just because of traffic congestion as a result of our markets not being organized. Then you talk of food waste. Because more than 85% of what we consume is coming from outside of Lagos, about 50% of our foods get wasted. This also now translates into massive waste deposits that you find littering the entire city. This means you and I as taxpayers will have our monies going towards waste disposal that could have actually been dealt with right from the point of origin if things had been done systematically and in an organized fashion. What this also translates into is if we can organize our market systems in Lagos, we would get it right. More than half of the problems we face today, from traffic congestion to waste disposal and what have you, would be dealt with. People would have better food, good quality food on their table at lower prices, in their pantries, and overall, you see that the economy definitely would improve. So I call on investors here today to join us on this train around organizing our market systems, our food systems very well. What we are currently doing, what Mr. Babajide Olusola is doing, is to have a 3-tiered market system where we have the very large wholesale network called the Central Logistics Hub, which would be about 9 in number, and they would be at the periphery of Lagos. So we are talking about areas like Badagry, we are talking about areas like the Ekpe axis, which will link to the Ijebu-Ode corridor, and others. So about 9 of these large central logistics hubs where food trucks coming from other parts of the country, particularly the north, can stay. And from there, you have large warehouses where food items could be dislodged. From there, you have the mid-level markets, which would be more intercity, and smaller truck sizes can actually pick food items from here straight into the smaller inner city markets. And from there, you have the pop stores across the metropolis that can offtake from this mid-level market to serve neighborhood communities. Having this 3-tiered system would ensure that everyone gets food at the right time, at the right price, and also the organization of such would ensure that we are able to tailor our supplies directly to what the demand is. what we have seen across board, looking at the value chains that we have, particularly in Lagos, if I start with the fisheries value chain, for instance, which is our area of competitive and comparative advantage, we see on an annual basis, Lagosians require over 400,000 tons of fish. We produce only 174,000 tons of fish. 80% of this is coming from our artisanal fishermen, who are not even having modern tools to work with. But I'm happy to say that Mr. Babajide Olusola has invested dramatically in this space towards producing and providing these fishermen with fiberglass boats that are modern, with outboard motor engines, with fishing nets and what have you. But even in looking at this picture and trying to scale it up rapidly, what we are looking for and from the investment community is to get into massive trawling. We have boats, we have trawlers coming in from as far away Asia, trawling in our waters, shrimping, cutting away seafood from our waters back to Asia and exporting to us here, and we have to pay the USD to be able to acquire some of these food items. Why are we not investing in our fishermen, in our waters, to ensure that at least in terms of the depreciation of the Naira, we are not contributing to it? There's massive opportunity in this space when you look at the supply and demand deficit. If you talk about the red meat value chain, which is also an area of major interest to us, Lagosians will need over 350,000 tons of beef on an annual basis. Lagos produces nothing. We are the largest market for beef in sub-Saharan Africa, having cattle coming from as far as Burkina Faso, Niger, Cameroon, and the other countries around us into Lagos. We are the largest market. We consume over 50% of what Nigeria produces, yet we don't have feedlot systems. Well, that is changing. Mr. Babajide Olusola has approved for the creation of a 750-hectare feedlot, and that is just a pilot as we now begin to also expand on this project. So we have the feedlot systems coming up for our red meat value chain. Within this space also, we have need for abattoirs. We don't have as many abattoirs for processing in the state. We need many more. Those that are even functional and are modern are state-owned, but we need more private investors to come into the space. If you talk of poultry, obviously poultry also, we need over 250,000 tons of poultry meat to feed Lagosians. We are producing only 72,000 tons of poultry meat, yet we see importation of poultry into the country. Why are we not able to produce more? We need to start to cut down on the amount of food imports coming into this country. That is the only way we'll be able to stabilize the USD. So long as food is still one of those major things that we import, we would always see the dollar rise and the Naira depreciate. And that way, we would always have a crisis on our hands, particularly around the disposable income available to the average Nigerian, available to the average Lagosian. It is also important to note that in the area of logistics, a lot is required. And why I say so, and what I had mentioned earlier, 50% of the food coming into Lagos ends up as waste. If our logistics is right, we'll be able to cut these losses down to at least maybe 10%. What this also translates into, centrally around logistics, is that getting this part right and getting investors into the space will do a lot of justice to the entire food structure and to the entire food systems we have in Nigeria. So looking at red meat value chain, fisheries, poultry, even piggery, we faced massive losses considering the outbreak of the African swine fever in the last 1.5 years. More than 80% of what our pig farmers have been lost to the flu. We need more investors to come into this space, especially with biosecurity measures and biosecurity services that would actually aid in ensuring that there's sustainability within that particular value chain, and you have more people being able to feed their families because they have a sustainable business. So these are many more are what we are doing. But like I said, everything dovetails back to the market. Once we're able to have an organized market structure, an organized market system, where we can monitor and measure demand versus supply, we would get things right. What the central logistics hub, what the entire food market system structure is going to give us is definitely the opportunity to do more data mining From there, we can dovetail back towards the point of origination of a lot of these food items, being able to actually place orders, possibly with sister states, in terms of partnerships with them, to be able to say, we need so, and so at this time of the year, at this price. And that way also we begin to have a commodities food exchange that can be used to actually curtail price increases and help our consumers, help our people. So investment, particularly in the market systems, would be the right direction for us to go. And like my brother in the Ministry of Transport had mentioned, the Lagos State Ministry of Agriculture had launched its 5-year roadmap sometime back in April. That is available. And through the Office of the SDGs, that can actually also be gotten. And I believe and I hope that we'll see more investors within the agri space. It's also important to note, food is the one thing that holds all 17 SDGs together. Without food, you can't have zero poverty, you can't have no hunger, you can't have gender equality, you can't have life on land, life on water, partnerships and what have you. Without food, there is no life. Therefore, without agriculture, you haven't started your investment journey yet. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, can we give the Honorable Commissioner for Agric, Ms. Bisola Olusoya, another round of applause. Thank you so much. I've just been cleared with the technicalities happening on the back there. So now we can take the Honorable Commissioner for Energy, Mr. Larry Odushote.
Good afternoon. If you can hear me, just raise your hand. Good afternoon, Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sowolu. Good afternoon, Mr. Deputy Governor.
My brother, my friend, honorable commissioners and members of the Lagos State Executive Council here present, diplomatic one, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
So now we can take the Honorable Commissioner.
All right, there seems to be some echo, but I think it's cleared up now, so I'll go on. Mr. Governor, please permit me to stand on existing protocol.
Raise your hand.
What I'm going to do here is lay out some numbers to try and help you understand.
Good afternoon, Mr. Governor.
Of the opportunity
Mr.
that
Babajide
exists
Olushola Sowolu. Good afternoon, Mr. Deputy Governor.
Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat.
Nigerian electricity chairman.
Hello. We're sorry about that once again. We seem not to get a hold on that. So we're going to move on quickly to the first keynote address, which is centered around attracting investment for economic recovery. And to do this for us is a distinguished gentleman who is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, NSIA, since 2012. As a pioneer CEO, he led the operationalization of the NSIA and has been responsible for driving its growth strategy from inception. A graduate from the Harvard Business School in 1998, he has held several positions in the field of finance, such as Managing Director in the Equities Division of UBS Securities in New York and JP Morgan Securities, Executive Director at Goldman Sachs Asset Management, and Financial Controller at Diamond Bank PLC, Lagos. A visionary leader